back and saying, why spend it if we don't have to? If we have to, they will.
Is the Congress argument compelling to donors, or are donors really motivated, particularly when you talk to other people and you're trying to get other people to donate, people really motivated by the top of the ticket? Like that report from the Boston Globe this week where it's more than 3-1 Republicans versus Democrats, and that's not just for the presidential race, it's for everything. That looks like a Republican Congress to me, which Democratic-minded people have to be a little bothered by.
Well, the other thing about the way they write these checks is that wish fulfillment that, their candidate will win and then they'll get a tax cut. It's the same ridiculous thing. They spend $300 million and they expect that on their multi-billion-dollar companies, they'll get $400 back and make a profit on the donation. Maybe they will if a Republican candidate gets in, but it'll hurt the country. We'll be back in a recession. It's amazing that Sheldon Adelson is spending $10 million and $10 million and $10 million. In 2008 and 2007, when we had a Republican administration and George Bush was the president, he was on his knees. I mean, his company was 2 seconds away from being bankrupt. He probably owes more to President Obama for being able to write those checks, because Obama at least righted the country from the impending disaster that wasn't caused by him at all. But Sheldon Adelson was 2 seconds away from going bankrupt.
In terms of your politics, not just thinking about this election, but thinking about this last term and what's happened with Congress going from Democratic control to Republican control and all this, are there things that you want to be happening in the Democratic Party that aren't happening? Are there things you want the president to be doing in policy or in politics that you're urging him to do or that you think he ought to do that he's not doing?
I think the president's doing a fantastic job. It's just trying to communicate it. And it's always hard when you're the incumbent because you inherit all the problems and people think that if even if you fix it, it's never fast enough. So I'm very happy with what the president's doing. And when I think of the competition, I get happier every minute. I'm thrilled. And I have voted Republican in the past. So it's not fair to say, oh, Harvey Weinstein, Democrat. I voted for Governor Pataki, and I raised funds for Governor Pataki. And I took Governor Pataki out to meet some of the most prominent Democrats who raised money for him. And I voted for Rudy Giuliani as well and did the same. When there's a good man, there's a good man. With all due respect to Governor Romney, he's not capable to run the United States.
Can I ask you a movie question?
Much better. I know I have to pay my dues and answer these political questions.
You're pretty good. But here's the thing. I'm the least pop culture aware person in the world, but I know what I like. And you, I'm sure by your design, but from my perspective and a kind of creepy coincidence, happen to be the producer of most of the movies that I like. So that's a compliment that I don't understand. It's just I share your taste, and I think you're good at what you do.
Thank you, Rachel.
And you are bringing over this movie that is the top grossing film in France ever?
It's the number 2, and around the world, it's the #1 French movie ever released.
Okay, so we have a little clip of it that I want to show, and then I have a question for you about why you think, how you decide whether or not Americans like something that French people like.
Okay.
Hold on, we'll play the clip. Hold on.
It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me.
Oh putain, on est en train de monter là.
And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea.
The main character is paralyzed from the neck down. He is persuading his terrified personal aide to go paragliding with him. How do you know when something works in another country, whether or not Americans are going to like it?
Well, in this situation, I read the script.
Yeah.
Young man in my office, Peter, came to us and said, I just read this great script. So I read the script too, and it was amazing. And I just felt that something about this movie worked. And I don't know, I got pretty lucky with the artist. And people say it's a bump up for me. I went from a silent movie to actually, even though it's in French, it's got sound this time. And, it's just, I've never had an experience where people see a movie in a theater like this movie, The Untouchables, and they walk out of it sky high. It's a true story, and I think you feel elated watching this movie.
The opening car chase scene has the same effect, I will say. It's called The Untouchables, new film for the Weinstein Company, Harvey Weinstein. It's great to have you here. It's nice to be able to talk really candidly with you about you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I saw a poster for Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And you know that my brother and David Zucker, who made all the Scary Movies, are about to go into production. How did you know the cast we had? We have not even announced them. And you have that story first.
Remember how I said it was
That's breaking news.
See, I think it's creepy that you're in my head about what movies to make. Now you're in my head, too. It's a deal, man.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
We'll be right back.